Assalamu alaikum and good day to everyone. In this video, I would like to share with you how we can make use of Google Form for our formative and summative assessment. In this video, I will divide it into two parts. Okay, for the first part is basically kind of like introduction to the Google Form, how you want to prepare question in Google Forms, and how you want to make use some of the features that already in the Google Form. So this one will be the first part of my video, and the second part of the video, I will discuss and I will share with you some of the add-on that is available in the Google Form. So probably for those who already been using Google Form in the previous semester, so you can take a look at the some of the features, some of the add-ons that you can download in the Google Form, okay, in order for you to improve your formative and the summative assessment. And for those who are already familiar with the Google Form, you can go to the video progress bar in the YouTube, the orange color bar, and you can skip and go directly to the add-on features that I will discuss in the second part of the video. Okay, all right, now for those who are the like a first time user, okay, first it's quite easy to go to Google Form. You can just Google search a Google Form, and then go to this google.com form and click on the personal. Okay, so once you are inside the Google Form, first of all, what you need to do is to log in into your Google account. In my case, I'm using my account, and click on the plus icon, okay, to start a new form. So once you click the blank form, you will see something like this, and you can see that there is this untitled form. So this is where you want to key in your title. Okay, let's say this is test number 1, and below the title you will see a form description. So form description is for you to key in, for instance, the instruction to students. For instance, answer all question, or you have 50 minutes to answer all question. Okay, so after you fill in the title and form description, okay, you will see another place where you you need to put your question here. Okay, you can put your question here, and there is two ways to put your question. Either you can write it down, you can copy paste from your Microsoft Word that you prepare in the Microsoft Word, or you can put an image. Okay, if you have a image, for instance, you want to show students the molecule. Okay, let's say benzene. Okay, so you can Google image search it and you can click it, so it will be in the question part. Okay, and you can also resize it, and you can also write down what is the question. Okay, so besides Google image, if you have your own photo, okay, you can upload it. Okay, just click upload and then browse your photo from your drive. Okay, or or from your Google Drive. All right, so after you fill in the question, okay, you can see on the right part of this question here, there is a choice. Okay, there is a drop down button where you can choose how you want to how you want the student to answer your question. Okay, so you can choose either you can choose whether you want them to give a short answer. Okay, so if you click short answer, then they need to write down, okay, something like a subjective question, or you want them to have a essay. Okay, so if you want them to write down an essay, long answer text, then click a paragraph. And then next is if you scroll down this drop down menu, there is also another choice where you can make it as an objective question by clicking the multiple choice. Okay, so you can have option 1. Okay, let's say A, and then you just click enter. It will be B, C, and D. Okay, and you can have more than 4 options if you want. And next is checkbox. Okay, so if you want to ask them which is correct about this molecule, okay, so they need to click, okay, like a tick button to your choice here, and also a drop down. So drop down is something like usually people use it for a survey. Okay, you will click it, something like this. Okay, something like this bar here. You click it, and then there will be many options for you to choose. All right, and you also have file upload. Okay, so in file upload, if you click file upload, then you allow the student to upload their file. Okay, let's say you want them to scan their answers. Okay, that you want them to write down on the paper, and you want them to upload it. So you can choose the upload, and then you make sure you allow them to upload it into your drive. Okay, so you just click continue, and then um, you have a few options over here, whether you want to allow only specific file types, maximum number of file, and maximum file size. Okay, so you can change this. And this is for students to upload their answers, and there is also other option over here, which is the linear scale, multiple choice grid, and checkbox grid. So linear scale is something like I think people use it mostly for surveys. Okay, for instance, you want student to rate from 1 to 5. Okay, and also there is this multiple choice grid. Okay, so you will have a row and columns, and you can so for this case, let's say you want to have a type of question where you need the student to choose one answer from each row. Okay, let's give an example. Let's say this is row 1, and then you have row 2, and then you add 2 columns. Okay, so how do you want to see your question? Okay, how do you want to see the what the student will see? Okay, from the question that you made, you can click the eye icons here. Okay, so you click this one, and you see that in the multiple choice grid, so you will have column 1, column 2, row 1, and row 2. Okay, and the student can only choose one, okay, from each row. So this is how multiple choice grid is. And the next one is checkbox grid. So checkbox grid is actually quite similar to the multiple choice grid, but in this one, you enable the student to actually click more than one box in each row. Okay, so if you have multiple option, okay, in each row, so you can choose the checkbox grid. The next item is date and time. So I think this is not very important in the assessment. So this is only meant for like participant to fill in. So for instance, what are their available dates and time? Okay. So let's say if you want to meet your students, you want to make appointment, you want to make them you want them to make an appointment, so you can create a date and time. So when you send it in to the students, so they can click, okay, which time they are available to meet you or something like that. So this is not much for the assessment, I believe. Okay. Um, And if you look down here, you see a rectangular icon. So this is for you to copy the question. Okay, you want to duplicate the question. So if you click the square icon over here, basically it will duplicate your question. If you have a similar image or similar question, but you want to edit a little bit, then you can click on this. And then this is obviously you want to delete the question. And the next thing is required. So this button meant for if you want them to answer it how to say, you make it compulsory. Okay, so if they didn't answer it, then the system or the web page uh, will tell them that there is a question that you haven't answered yet. Okay, for instance, okay, for instance like this. Let's go to the preview. Okay, if you click submit, then it will come up. This is a required question. So you haven't answered or you haven't choose the answer yet. Okay, and the next thing that I would like to share with you is the box here. Okay, so there is this 6 option, and the first one is this is to add question. Okay, let's say you want to put more question down here, you can just click it and then it will add a question next to the first question. The second icon is for you to import question. If you click this, you can choose any other form that you have prepared. Okay, so that you can import the question into the new form that you're preparing here. Okay, and the third one is to add title and description. Okay, so it is not limited to only one title. You can add more title. This is more important when you have a multiple section. Okay, so I will skip first these two. So let's go to the add section part. So you can see the two rectangular icon here. So if you click this, so you will divide it into two sections. Okay, and it come up with like a another title bar over here. Uh, so you can write down question or section A. Okay, so let's make it something like down here, and this one is insert your metric number. And you want them to write down a short answer, for instance. Okay, be quiet. So if you look at the preview, so what you will see is, okay, test number 1, insert your metric number. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then the section A come up. Okay, so then it is like the section is like you are creating a second page. Okay, so when you click this one, there will be another title part over here, and you can put your question. You can start your question here. So it is more organized in that way, rather than to have all question and instruction in one page. So so you can always add another title. Okay, over here. I mean, it's up to you if you have any other things that you want to add in your Google form. And then you can add another image into your form. Okay, let's give an example. Let's say I write something about chemistry. Okay, let's bring it after the section A. Alright, so the difference between this image and the one embedded in the question is that let's say if you want um, okay, if you have a set of question relating to an image or even video, okay, you can add video as well. that you posted in the form, and let's say subsequent question or the next three question will be based on this image or video. So you can use this as their reference. Okay, so if you click video, also they only allow you to click the video from the YouTube. Okay, so you put in the URL or you search the keywords. Okay, and then you embed it into the Google form, and let's say if you want to have the next three questions based on this video. Okay, so you can put it in. This is how you can design a different set of question, okay, just based on the image and the video. Okay, this is how I use it in the previous semester. All right. The next thing that I would like to share with you is I think I forgot to share with you the three dot button over here. Okay, after the required switch. So if you click here, okay, there is three things for you to show in the question. So first is the description. So you can add some description in your question, and then go to section based answer. Okay, so let's say if you have option 1, option 2, option 3, sorry, and if you want them to let's say if they click option 1, so if they click option 1, you want them to go to section 2, for instance, or section 3, 4, and so on. So and if they answer option 2, you want them to go to different section. Okay, so this is the function of go to section based on answer. And finally, you can actually shuffle the option order. Okay, so let's say you want each student to have a different sequence of the answers. Okay, so you can click on the shuffle option order. So for me, usually I will put in my one of my question also I will have like image or video for them to read. Okay, for instance, how spectroscopy experimental setup. Okay, there is always a good videos in YouTube, and then I will ask them why the setup is like this. For instance, why this optics, this set of mirror is important, something like that. And I also will not make all of the question in one section. So usually I will create many section, okay, and each section only consists of like 5 to 6 questions, okay, and then so after they finish every 5 or 6, they need to click next to go to the next section. Okay, so first section usually you will have them to put in their metric numbers, yeah, their names or metric numbers. In the case of final exam, we take another step further. We ask them to actually take the image of their metric card, okay, so that we know they did not put their friend's metric number. So we're afraid that they do this test 2 times. They put their friend's metric number, then our record will be a bit messed up, right? So what we do, we ask them to insert in metric number as well as upload in the image of their metric card. Okay, and then I will create the first section, for instance, question 1 to 5. Okay, and then the second section, question 6 to 10, for instance. Okay, and if you have two lecturer, you can also make a different section. Section A for Dr. Faisal and section B for Dr. Rosie, for instance. Okay. Um, all right. So I guess that is all for this part. Okay. On creating a question. Okay. Now let us take a look at the last setting before we send the form to students. Okay. There is this about 6 different things or icon on top of the page here. Okay. So let's go one by one. Okay, this is a piece of puzzle icon. So this is for add-on. I will explain in the second part of my video. And this is a customized theme icon. Okay, so if you click this customized screen, so you can make your form more beautiful. So you can choose an image for your header. Okay, let's say if you want to have this kind of image, just insert it. Then it will appear at the top of your page. Okay, the first page of your Google form. And then you can choose a theme color. Okay, so basically the background and the tab color here. Okay, also the background. And you have few options to choose um, for the what we call as a font style. So you have basic, decorative, formal, and playful that you can change. Okay, so usually I just use a basic one. And the third icon, I have discussed it before, is a preview. Okay, if you want to see how the student will see your question, so this is a preview tab. All right, and then the last one, no, the fourth one is the setting. Okay, if you click the setting, then under general, we can choose to collect the email address of student. Okay, so you can tick this if you want to collect the email address of student. So we force them to input their email. Okay, so at least to give us some extra information in addition to the metric number. And I will also ask student to use UMail email account, so that later I can trace them because their email address, mail email address, so they already have their metric number as a part of their address, right? So that I can actually I can trace, I can make sure that it is tally with their metric numbers. So I tick this collect email, and then I also restrict oh sorry, no, I won't click this one because it doesn't work for me last time. So I just realized that some of the student, when I tick this box, even though they are logged in as a mail account, but it doesn't allow them to answer the question. So usually I will untick this and I will tick limit to one response. Okay, so the respondent need to sign in to the Google account. Okay, and they can only send the answer once. Okay, I think it's quite useful. And then respondent can edit after submit. Usually I will untick it and see summary chat and text response, and also I will usually untick it. Depend on you if you want them to edit. If you give them like one day duration, so you allow them to edit after submit. Okay, the next step in the setting here is the presentation tab. Okay, so in the presentation, you can choose to have progress bar, to show a progress bar in your Google form. Okay, so if you choose to have a progress bar, it will show kind of like a progress of how many percentage for them to complete the question or to complete the form. And if you have different section, so if you have multiple section, it will write down the progress bar as page 1 of 4, 2 of 4, and so on. And the next thing in the presentation bar is the shuffle question order. So you can use this if you want to randomize the order of question. Perhaps you think that it can help in reducing the possibilities of student discussing question with their friends. But for me, I think it is not really work or useful because student can still find the same question, okay, and discuss it. So not very useful for me at least. And you can also write down a confirmation message once you have clicked the submit button. Okay, you can write down your response has been recorded or thank you and so on. Okay, And the last step here is the quizzes. So you need to turn on this switch if you want this to be a quiz. Okay, so if you click this one, uh, then okay, let me show here. Let's go back to our question. So what will happen is that you will have another new icon down here. Okay, if you didn't click quiz, you won't see this answer key button. So when you click the answer key button, you can choose which is the correct answer. Let's say option number 1 is the correct answer, and then you can um, write down the number of point here. Okay, so for this question, let's say this is 10 points or 1 point or whatever. Okay, so you can click done, and then you will see a right button which correspond to the correct answer. So if they answer this question correctly, they will get 10 points. Okay, so it only appear when you click um, when you switch on this button here. All right. Um, okay, the next thing is that you can release grade immediately after each submission. After they click submit, they can immediately get the result. Let's say after class, you want to do some short survey on how many students understand their uh, understand what they learn during the class. Okay, so you can release grade immediately, or you want it to be like a class test. Okay, so you can click on later after manual review, which means that they won't receive any grade or marks after they click their submission. Okay, and then there is three things that you want to choose whether respondent can see or not: missed questions, correct answer, points value. So for a test, definitely you don't want them to point value, you can show them, but missed question, if you don't click the required button in the question. So I think that's it in the setting. Okay, that's all that you can actually modify the Google form. All right, so once you already um, uh, design your form, what you can do next is to click on the send button. The first thing you will see is the whether you want to send you want to share your question through email. So if you want to share this question, you can write down the email for each students, or you can click on the this icon here. So it will create its own link, or you can shorten the link by by clicking this button, and it will shorten the URL, and you can copy this and send it in WhatsApp or Spectrum. Okay, and this is what normally I will do. I will copy this link and I will give it in WhatsApp or in Spectrum. Okay, once they click this link, it will appear something like what you see in this tab. Okay, in this page. And probably I missed this one. So if you have two lecturer in a single course, then you can add the second lecturer by adding the collaborator. Okay, all right, so you can just click the name or the email, and then you can add. So for the question that we just made, we don't have any responses yet, so let's take a look at the one that I did in my class. All right. Okay, so if your student have already submitted their answers, so this is how it looks like. Okay, so first of all, you can click this switch button here, so that to make sure that you are not going to accept any response. Okay, after the time is over, and and then secondly, there is this three tab here. So one is summary, second is question, and third is individual. Okay, let's take a look at the summary. So if you go to the Insight tab here, you can see kind of like a histogram, a distribution showing how many students got certain number of points. Okay, so you have the average points, the medians, and the range. Okay, so it will also shows the frequently missed question. Okay, which question that they got mostly wrong. Okay, the most wrongly answered by the student. And further, you can look at more details, the scores for each students, the metric numbers, and the picture of the metric card. Okay, so if you want to trace it. And further, there is also the summary for each question. Okay, how many people answer A, B, C, or D. All right, for each question. So you can have a detailed summary, kind of like statistics of how many students answer each option from your question. Okay, so um, you can also view this for each students. Okay, let's say you have you sorry, this is in term of each question, not each student. So if you, let's say if you want to look at question number 3, all right, so you want to see how many responses answer option D or B or C. Okay, so this is like more detail. Okay, you want to look at which student answered this question correctly. And finally, you can look at the individual answer. Okay, you can choose which metric number, which students, and you can see how they answer each question. Okay, so you can go deeper and look at how they answered your question. All right. The last thing that I want to share here is that you can view the responses in the Google Sheet. Okay, by clicking the download or create spreadsheet. So if you click this one, you can create spreadsheet and save it in your Google Drive, or you can directly download by clicking this three dot button here, and you can download the responses. Okay, this is in terms of the .csv format. Okay, so if you click this, then you can just extract it. And you will see the responses in the Excel format. Okay, so you will see the timestamp. Okay, let's say if you know the what is the exact time that they submit their username, the score, metric numbers, and the points for each question. Okay, so after you got all this information, okay, in the matrix form, you can delete whatever not important, and you can retain whichever information that you want to get. So normally what I did, okay, timestamp, probably you just want to look whether they submit on the right at the right time, or they submit late. So usually I will delete it after I look at it, and total score I will remain, as well as the metric numbers, and then I delete each of the question. Okay, so what you realize from the when you extract the responses from the Google form, okay, it will write down 0/2, 2/2. So what I normally did is to use the Control F button. You can replace it. So you can choose to replace um, over 2 to nothing. Okay, so you just click replace all. So then you get all into the, okay, and you can also replace the one as a total score. Okay, So you get only number of points. Okay, you won't get a 2 over 2 or 0 over 2, so that it is easier for you to sum up with your continuous assessment as well as the formative assessment. All right, and the question you can also delete. You can just select multiple of the question, okay, and just click delete. Okay, I think that's all that I want to share for the introduction part of the Google form. And now I will start with the second part of the video, which is the add-on features. Okay, now let's go back to the Google form. Okay, so in the second part of this video, I would like to share with you the add-on features that you can use in the Google form for your assessment. So to install an add-on, what you need to do is you go at the top of the page and you will see the three dot icon over here. Okay, you click it and then go to the add-ons. Okay, and what you will see from the add-on is basically the Google Workspace Marketplace, and you can see that there is a lot of um, different add-ons over here that are compatible with the Google form. Okay, so you can see that there's so many useful add-on that will add extra functionalities to your Google form. I'm not going to cover all of this, but in this video, I want to share with you some of the add-on that I think useful for our formative and summative assessment. Okay, so the first one that I would like to share is the one called as Hypershare Create. Okay, Hypershare Create. So what you do, you click on the Hypershare Create and then you click install. Okay, and continue, and then just select your account. Okay, so once you click install, so you go back to your test. Okay, you can close this and you go to the piece icon, the puzzle piece icon over here. Okay, and then you choose the Hypershare Create. So the Hypershare Create is an add-on used to create a mathematical equation for your question. Okay, the problem with Google without this add-on is that you cannot have any mathematical symbol. For instance, if you want to make a square root, you want to make a matrix, Greek symbol, integration, and so on. Okay. Furthermore, you can even have a superscript or subscript, okay, in the normal Google form without the add-on. So using this Hypershare Create, you can actually have these features of superscript and subscript. Okay, so what you do, first you click on Insert or Edit Math. Okay, and then you will see this pop-up screen. So what you do is you write down your equation over here. Okay, let's say you make x squared plus 2x. So let's say something like this. Okay, so next, once you already create your you already write your equation, you just click create link. Okay, and then you go back to the question that you want to put in your equation. Okay, let's say I create another question over here. And then you click on the image, click by URL and paste the link. Then you will see the equation, okay, that you create just now. So insert image, then the equation that you set in the add-on will appear over here. All right, and you can adjust the alignment of this equation if you want to make it centered. Okay. All right, so you will see this equation in your question, and you can explore it. There is many other. You can even use a menu editor. It will create a small screen on the right hand side of the screen here. Okay, it will come a pop-up window, and then you can do it quickly. Okay, you can do the equation quickly over here, and just again create a link, and then paste the URL inside your question. Okay, the second add-on that I would like to share with you is called the form limiter. Okay, again you can go to the add-ons and then search form limiter. Okay, so click install. Again, the same procedure as the previous add-on. And once you install it, go to the puzzle piece icon and click form limiter. Okay, so sometimes you just need to refresh your form. Okay, once you if your form limiter doesn't appear. Okay, and then you can see that now the set limit appear once you refresh your Google form. So I'm not sure why it's happened, but just from my experience, sometimes it just come up with help only without any you cannot set the limit. So what you do is just you refresh the page, and then now it appear here. Anyway, so the form limiter is used to set a limit. Okay, for the, let's say if you have a question, you want to set a limit of date, time, or the number of participants. Okay, let's say if you want to have only 100 response, then you want to stop receiving the response. Okay, so you click set limit, and then you choose what kind of limit that you want, date and time, or number of form or response. Let's say date of time, and then just choose a date and time, and you can write down a message when submission are closed. Okay, so once you set it, okay, you just click save and enable. Okay, so once it reaches the date and this time, so then the student will not be able to send or submit the form. Okay, another thing that before I forgot to tell you that please use the Google Chrome browser instead of Mozilla or IE, Internet Explorer, because I think some of the add-on might not be working very well in other type of browser. Okay, so try to, when you set up the add-ons, try to use the Google Chrome. All right, the third add-on that I would like to share is called the Form Ranger. Okay, again go to the add-on, and then you search Form Ranger. So this is the Form Ranger that I meant. Okay, so install it, and then click on the add-on, open the Form Ranger. Okay, if it doesn't appear, again refresh your web page. Okay, now let's try again to open the Form Ranger. Okay, now you can start seeing the start option over here. Okay, click on start, and you will see a small window appear on your the right side of the screen. Okay, so in this small screen here, you will see the question list. Okay, for you to choose which of the question that you want to populate your option, okay, from the Excel file. Okay, let's say I want to include the metric number of my student that I got from Maya. Okay, so I want to make them choose their metric number instead of they write their own metric number over here. Okay, So what I do is I check the box for populate from range. I click the plus icon and it will bring you to another window. So this window is basically connected to your Google Drive account. So in my case, I would like to include the metric number. So what I do is that so initially I got my metric number of my students from in the Excel format. But my suggestion to use this add-on is to convert it into the Google Sheet, okay, instead of Excel format. So how do you want to do it? Just open your Google Drive, okay, open the Excel file, and then you go to File and then Save as Google Sheet, okay, and it will automatically convert to Google Sheet. So choose the one in Google Sheet format, and then it will bring automatically to a select range. So let's say in your Excel file you have many columns that have many different information of students. So you can choose whether you want to have a username or metric numbers. Okay, so I choose to have a metric numbers in this example, and then I write down as a metric number. Okay, and then I save and populate question. There you go. Okay, so you can see the option in this question is basically all my students metric number. Okay, so I can choose a drop down. Okay, drop down meaning that let's take a look at the preview here. So insert your metric number and you click here, then they just choose which one is their metric number. Okay, I think it's quite useful. And you can do for other question. So if you want to populate in the question number one with other option that you have inside the Excel file, and you can do the same procedure, okay, as I mentioned before. Okay, the next add-on that I would like to share is called the docs appender. Okay, let's go to the add-on again. Let's close this one first and add on. So you open the Google Marketplace, and this is the docs appender that I meant. Okay, so first you install it and close it, and then go to the add-on. Okay, before I click this, let me go to the form that I prepared for me to use this add-on. Okay, so the doc appender is actually used to update or track your student group work progress. Okay, this is one example, the use of docs appender. If you have some kind of project-based activities, so you can make use of this add-on. I think it is quite useful. Let me try to demonstrate it to you. But first, what we need to do is to create a new folder in our Google Drive. So go to your Google Drive and you click new folder. So I have already created project one. So when you create the folder, let's call it as a project one, and then what you do is to click new and then um, create a new Google Docs. Okay, so you click this one and just rename it as let's say for example group A, group B, group C, or student A, student B, and student C. Okay, this one you can also do for to look at your progress of your master or PhD students as well. Right, so I rename the Google Docs as group A, group B, and group C. And you go back to your Google form. Okay, you click add on and you choose the doc appender, open sidebar. So what will appear is step one, you have to choose the folder. Okay, pick from drive. and you want to choose the project that you created just now, project 1. Okay, sorry. Just click this one time and select it. Okay, all right, so you already choose the project 1 and then you click next and you want to select question. Okay, so I already create this form. Okay, the classroom evaluation. So I have the first question is group, and then I would like to add my comments or progress, and then like progress percentage. Okay, this is an example. So the first thing that I would like to do is to select a question. Okay, let me refresh it, and I choose as group and save and populate selected question. So later you will see that now the group A, group B, and group C appear here. Okay, it follow according to the Google Docs that you prepared previously. Okay, the name that you prepared. All right, then you click next. All right, so now you need to choose uh, which information that you want to be included in your Google Docs. Okay, let's say I include timestamp, group, my comment. Okay, so all the information, and I choose to have a separate bulleted list. You can choose other form as well. Okay, and then I click enable. Okay, now what will happen? Let's try uh, to use this Google form. Okay, click preview. Okay, I want to choose group A. My comment is good, and then I click 20%. I submit it. Okay, and then you go to your Google Docs. Okay, you can open this, and then you can see immediately it write down the timestamp where you record the progress. When do you write down the progress, the time, which group. Okay, and then my comment, score, and so on. So you can add more question if you want more information. Okay, so if you click you submit another response, you click group B. Let's say it's bad, 5%, and you submit it. Now it will appear in group B. Okay, so you can make use this add-on. Let's say if you want to write down the some of the repetitive um, uh, report of the students or group, and looking at their progress. So I think this one can be useful if you have a project-based activities, group work, and also your PhD or master students. Okay, and I guess that is all from me. So I will leave it to you on how you want to make use of these features and also all the other add-ons. So you can explore yourself all the other add-ons that are available. And I hope that by using the features in Google Form will help you in preparing your formative or and summative assessment in the next semester. Okay, so that's all from me. Thank you very much and Assalamualaikum.